So
I have a question, by the way.
okay.
Supposing you want to add a video from your laptop or your computer, do you still use the what do you use?
So there's something called video.
Sorry?
There's something there's a channel tag called video
Mm-hmm.
that we can do that. So where do you want to put it?
I'll put it here. There.
There. Do you already have a video?
Mm-hmm. Let me see.
So maybe you can find a video. Then you can paste it in a folder called video.
Mm-hmm.
And try to see if there's a video on your machine.
Yeah. Mm. They really have a lot of folders. I can't even recall. Mm-hmm. Mm. Oh, sorry. Mm-hmm. And what location was this in? Mm-hmm.
Okay, do that.
Okay. And then copy to where? I mean paste it to where? To the,
Remember where your folder is.
my folder.
Yeah, for this website.
Yeah.
Documents.
Yeah. Yeah.
So inside.
I paste.
Yeah, we can just create a folder called video. So rename it.
Mm-hmm. As video.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Okay. Awesome. So now let's go to HTML so that we can add the HTML.
we go. Sorry.
Yeah. So now the HTML. So the tag is video. So we can add the less than sign then video.
Video.
Yes, video.
Just like this.
Yes, like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We can add the controls. So you know those controls for video, so space, the controls.
I add the.
Controls.
Sorry.
So just add controls. 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 Controls.
Oh, as a what?
Yeah.
And
Sign.
sorry.
Close with a greater than sign.
Mm-hmm.
Let's
Sorry.
get greater than sign first. Yeah.
Yeah.
So remove the slash. No. You have to close. You haven't closed the. Yeah. So No, let me just text you and see.
Mm-hmm.
Video control. I'm checking the group or the chat.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Like that. Lord, I'm sorry.
Okay. So you can just finish that video.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You just add all. Turn the video on. Now go to after controls. Immediately after controls, put the greater than sign.
Mm-hmm. I
Put
put
the
the
greater than sign.
greater than.
Sign. Yeah. That's arrow. No. The arrow facing to your facing to the right of the editor, not left. Yeah. Okay. So now we need to define the source for the video. So on the next line, hit enter. No, just there.
No.
Just yeah. So then introduce a new HTML tag called source. So less than sign source, SOURC. Yes. Then space, then SRC is equals to
S then SRC.
SRC. No, just SRC.
Oh.
Yeah. And then is equals to. Then our video is at in quotes. Our video is at it's just video dot. So in quotes video.mp4.
Mm.
Video.mp4. So then after the quotes, type after the quotes, add type is equals to
Hmm?
type is equals to
Type. Oh, sorry. Like that.
no, remove the equal sign.
After which quote?
After the MP4. Just check in the chat. Type just after that quote, the MP4 quote, add that TYP is equals to video immediately after the MP4 quote.
After the quote.
Yeah. Is equals to
In quotes.
video slash MP4.
Video.
Slash MP4.
And then I should close. I mean, like.
Yeah. So now then close this. Now that's okay. So now save and try view in the browser.
It comes immediately. Yeah, it's here.
Okay. So that's how we add a video.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, does anyone in this session have a question? Or they're stuck somewhere? So MP4 is that video, what do they call it? MP4 is like a video, how do you say it? It's the format in which the video is saved. So like a video is named video, but then it has the .mp4 extension. So that's like a format in which you save videos. Video format. So MP4 is a video format. So when you're defining your source, you need to give it the URL, as in where your video file is stored. Then you give it the type. So you're telling the browser that this is a video. So there are now of many types. There is OGG, there is MTV type, apart from the MP4. Immaculate, if you're speaking, you're not, you can't hear you well. What if you created a folder named video? What will be the changes? So if you have a folder called videos, where there is src is equals to video.mp4, yours will be video/video.mp4 if you had created a videos folder. Anyone else with a question? Yeah, thank you, Chai, for typing that. Okay, so since there are no questions, is everyone where we are at? I hope everyone has took some time and did some catching up. I hope you took some time and did some catching up if you had missed the previous sessions. I would advise you always go through the videos before the next session so that you easily catch up. It's just 1 hour, 1 hour 30 minutes. So just take that 1 hour 30 minutes out of your day and just catch up. So I hope you know there's a playlist for the videos for those of us in Nakuru and Lamu. So let me just put it in the chat. So this is our third session, right? Am I right? No, okay. Thank you very much.
Do you also do the same for if you want to add an image from your PC?
Image from your PC?
Yeah.
From your PC is what on line 31. You see line 31?
Yeah, I remember. I
Okay.
remember.
That's what we did there. Okay, so go open contact.html. I want to see something. Okay. Go to your index2.html. Okay, so we're going to look at a number of things. We're going to look at how to create. We haven't created a table, so we're going to look at tables, forms in today's session. So please allow me to share my screen. Is everyone else with us? Diana today is quiet. Diana, are you with us? Awesome. Great. Immaculate, were you able to catch up?
Yes, I'm trying to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gladys? Liz? Margaret? Michelle? Marcy? Were you able to catch up? Okay, so I'll share my, awesome, thank you for the feedback. So I'm going to share my Sublime text. So please follow with me as I create a table. So with HTML, just as the name says, you create a table using element HTML element called table, just like the other ones with the video also. So a table is made up of rows and data. So the data is, for example, the figures or the strings in the table. Then a table usually has a table head. A table head is usually in a table row. So after creating the table, the next thing is you create a row, so a table row. Table row is represented by TR, right? So now this is one table row. So this is our first table row. So in this first table row, for example, I can have say name and age. So name, age, maybe school. So those are our table heads. So with HTML, use an element called th to define our table head. So our first table head is age. Okay. Then the other table head is we have said name. Then the other table head is school. Okay. So this defines our table heads. So our first row will have the age, the name, and the school. So you can see that our table now has one row and like 3 columns. Okay, so that's our first row. So now in our second row is where we now start putting the data. We start putting the data. So for example, the first, so now with HTML, when you're defining data, you use HTML element called TD. TD represents table data. So the first one, I'll say I'll put my name, right? So my no, so the first thing is supposed to be the age. So I'll put an age there. Then the second table data is now the name. And then the third table data will have the school. So which school? I can say Moyale. Second one. Okay. So now we now have a table with the first table head, with the table head and the first entry into our table. So now, when I open this in a browser, I don't know if you can see my browser. Can you see my browser? So you can see down there, we have our table with the age, the name, and the school. Are you with me? So we can create the second table row and say, so we have the table data. So I would say now the age, let's say 90. Let's say now the table data is, for example, Doreen. I'm sorry, so then I can add another table data. And then say, the age. The age is, let's say, 50. Table data with Margaret. And then I can say Margaret went to, sorry, I made a mistake. This is supposed to be table row, not table data. And I can say went to, so now when I open in the browser, and then I refresh that. So now my table now has this number of rows. So that's the first row, second row, and the third row. Awesome. So let me just share the code again. And then if you have a question, please let me know. If you have a question, you can unmute, then you can ask. So no question. I assume everything is okay. Everyone is with us. That's the assumption. And everyone is quiet. So if you have been able to do that and you've seen the table, please comment in the chat and say done. Awesome. Thanks, Diana. Margaret. Awesome, Gladys. Okay. I thought someone would ask me why doesn't this table have um, why doesn't it look like a table? I thought someone would ask me that. Like those lines, you know. I thought someone would ask me that, but it's okay. Okay. So CSS probably. Glad is saying CSS probably to do the formatting. Mercy saying she's done. Okay, awesome. I think with also HTML, you can just set it, but also as you said, with it's always better to use CSS. So we're going to learn that CSS in a bit. Yeah. So it looks like you already knew what to do. Awesome. So it looks like everyone has been able to do that. So we're going to create a form. So forms, the next thing we're going to do is create a form. So forms are usually important for on websites. So where you want someone to submit something to you, like maybe it's a contact form or maybe it's a sign up form where someone is registering for something. So it's always important to have a form on your site. Awesome. So we're going to just with HTML, like most tags, I just usually check the name of what you want to create. So this is a form. So that's how you create a form. The form element, HTML element. Now a form is usually made up of a number of things. It's usually made up of a label. It usually has input. So input is where, for example, the box where you enter your name, your names, your email addresses, or your passwords. That's usually called the input. Then the word, like for example, email is usually called a label. So you have a label, then you have input, label, input, then you have a button at the end. So we are going to create our first label. So this label, so usually called just the label. So the first label could be, let's say, first name, or let's say first name, yeah, or name, right? So that's how you create a label. So the label will be shown there. Then the next thing is we need to create input. So where the person is going to enter the name. So input, sorry, input. Now this input usually has an attribute called type. So type is, do you want them to enter text? Do you want them to enter a number? Do you want to enter for them to enter a password, right? So there's usually different types of inputs. So there's text, email, number, tel for telephone numbers, then passwords, and many others. So in this case, you want them to enter a text. They then usually give your inputs names. So in this case, I'll say full name. So this creates for us a label name and an input. So when you save that and view it in the browser, open it in a browser. So I have to stop sharing, then share the screen. So when you open your browser down there, you see there's the name, and then there's that. I don't know if you can see it. There's name, then there's that input. So in this input is where you can type now the name. Awesome. So that's how you create a label and input. So then, so we can put a break here so that it goes to the next line. So then we create the next label. So the next label is, for example, email address. So that's how you create a label for that. Then input, because you want it's easier to input. So now we type. So this is an email address. So the type is usually email. So this is important so that when the person is on it's either on the phone, for example, when they tap on that input, the keyboard will show things like .com, the at sign, so to enable them to easily type, and then the browser will understand that it only takes an email address. So name, you can call this email _ address. Okay, so once you have that, save, view it in a browser, view it in a browser. So in our browser, we have a name, and then we have email address there. Email address. Okay, so that's the name and email address. So let's add something else, like a mobile number. So let's put a break there, and then label. So this is a mobile number. Input type. So say with mobile numbers, the input is usually tel. Tel is usually for telephone, and then add your name, and then mobile number. So that's how you get for a mobile number. And then after that, let's put a button. So this button will be the what the person presses to submit. So it's input type is equals to button. And then the value is what is going to be shown on the button. Let us submit. Submit the message. Or submit details. Okay. So you save that. Type button value submit. So you save that. Refresh your browser. Yeah, so that's the name, email, mobile number, then there's a button. So you click on that, it's supposed to be able to submit. But since you just have HTML, nothing will be submitted. Okay. So I'm going to stop that, then share the Sublime text. So if you have a question, something that's not clear, please let me know so that I can clarify. Why label an input? So Michelle is asking why label an input. Can someone respond to her? Michelle is asking why label an input. Can someone unmute and explain, maybe? Can someone, no, so no one is able to explain why label an input? Michelle has sent me a message privately saying, asking why label an input. Is anyone able to explain why? Awesome. That's a very good response, Diana. Yes. Diana says, so that the user of the form can know what detail to enter / input. Yes. Gladys says, label is like what details the user is supposed to enter. Input defines what kind of data is supposed to be entered, text, email, number. Yes. Those are perfect responses. Thank you very much, Diana and Gladys. Great. So I hope everyone has done that and have seen the form. If you have not seen the form, please, you can unmute and tell us that I'm not seeing the form. I don't know what's wrong, and then we can help you. Okay, so the next thing you're going to look at is different types of input. So there's usually these are usually the basics, email, telephone, but there are cases where there are things like ticking check boxes, choosing one specific item from a list, something called a radio button. So the number of other HTML tags that we're going to look at right now. So we're going to look at where a case where you have to, you can tick a number of options. For example, you can say, I want a car, I want a, I want Mercedes Benz, I want a Range Rover. So different numbers of inputs that you can actually select. So that to do that, we use checkboxes with HTML. So checkboxes usually allow us to accept multiple values selection. So someone can tick multiple values. Then the other type of input is the radio button. The radio button only allows you to select one out of a list of items. So we're going to look at that. So after the mobile number, we're going to add a new label that says pick, for example, your favorite car. So then we're going to have input, right? So input of type. So you have said this is a checkbox. Set checkbox. So the first this is our first checkbox. And then the value is going to be, for example, the value for the first one is going to be, let's say, a Range Rover. So that's going to be our first value, right? Then we can put a break. So it goes to the next line. So input, and another input, type, checkbox, checkbox, and then a value. Let's say that's how you spell Rolls Royce. Then break to a new line. And then I want another type, checkbox, of value is going to be, for example, then save that. Save that and refresh. See how it looks like. So refresh. Okay, so our labels are not displaying. So it means you made a mistake. So our labels are not displaying. Okay, yeah. So I'm sorry, so I made a mistake that I did not put a label first. I did not put a label. So each checkbox is supposed to go with a label. Mute my. Okay, so the mistake I did is I did not put a label. So we need to always have a label. So the label is what will be displayed. So label. So immediately after the input, let's add a label and say, for example, so this is what is open. Yeah, so that's the label. And then the next one is label. So this is the also. And then the label here. This will so you can save that. Look at it in browser. So let's put a break here for better visibility. So then refresh your browser. Can you see my text editor? I think I did not share my text editor while typing. Can you see my text editor? Now, awesome. So please look at the correction. I forgot to add the label after the input. So please do that. If you have been able to do that, please type in the chat done. Awesome. Thank you, Diana. Awesome. Thank you for the feedback. Doreen, are you still with us or you have left? You have not replied if you're being able to do that.
I am catching up. I'm still with you.
No.
I had network issues.
Oh, okay. Pole. Okay, so that's how a form works and looks like. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a list. Um, I believe we have not worked on lists, so we're going to create a list. There are two types of lists. There's usually the ordered or the unordered. So the ordered list is the one that has numbering like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so that you see that there's some order. The numbering shows some order. Then there's an unordered list that's just, for example, just bullets. So you know there's no specific order. So we're going to look at that. So let me share my editor. So we're going to create a simple list of um, fruits, for example. So I'm going to create an ordered list. So an ordered list is usually use an element called UL. UL just stands for an ordered list. So UL that allows you to create and close your unordered list. Then you can put your list items. So list items are usually use the HTML tag li. So for example, the first one can be oranges. The other one can be apples. The other one can be lime. So that's our list. So that's how you simply create a list, an ordered list. So for ordered list, you just use OL. OL stands for ordered list. And you do that. Then the list items remain the same, LI. So what kind of list can we have here? So you can say and just list of random names. So I'll say Lima, Fatma.
Excuse me.
Yes.
What does UL stand for? If you don't mind repeating.
An ordered list.
UL.
Yes. Unordered. An ordered list.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so once you have done that, you can look at it in the browser. You save, then open your browser. So you'll see my list down there. So I have oranges, that's unordered. So there's no specific order. But then when you look at this ordered list, there's an order that is denoted by 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so let's do that. Once you've done, please let me know in the chat by saying done. Awesome. Thank you for the feedback, Diana, Margaret, and Mercy. So Liz, is Liz still here? Liz, you've gone quiet, so I don't know if you're with us. Mariam, you're quiet.
Yes, I'm around.
Now, okay. Are you
But
are you
I'm a
lost?
bit firm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, but I know the ordered list and the unordered list.
Ah,
So
okay.
where I'm lost is about the input. But there's no problem. I'll follow up later.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Mariam, for the feedback. You say you're on tables. Okay. Okay. So we have done lists, we have done the form, we have done a table. So let's do some bit of styling, I believe. We are at that stage. So let's do some styling. With when designing a website, you can style our HTML using something called Cascading Style Sheet. That is CSS. So it's CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheet. So we use that to design our websites. So for example, we are going to design our images. Our image was too big. We're going to design that. We're going to design our headers, give it some coloring. We're going to design a paragraph or font to increase the fonts. We are going to, for example, maybe add a border to our table so that the styling looks good. We're going to do that. So let me share my screen. Okay, so we need to create a folder. We need to create a folder called CSS. So what I'm going to do is, you see where I'm at on my editor. Right click on the name of your website. So for my case, it's called website. I'll right click and create a new folder called, name it CSS, CSS. You can see it there. And then inside there, I'm going to create a new file and save it as style.css. Then save it. So now you can see inside my CSS folder, there's a file called style.css. So once you've been able to do that, please let me know in the chat. If there's something that you've not understood, please also let me know. So simply you're creating a folder called CSS. Inside that folder, we're creating a new file called style.css.
Do you mind repeating what you just said?
I said create a folder inside the website folder. So right click on website, and then new folder. Then call that folder CSS. Then inside the CSS folder, create a new file by right clicking on CSS, new file, and call it style.css. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Okay. If you'll be able to do that, just type done in the chat. Okay, so I see Gladys had asked if you want Roman numbers in the ordered list. Chai has named that, has been able to reply to that. You add type to your ordered list, and inside that you put the Roman-ish numbers. So if you're able to get the folder and the file, please let me know. And also look at this on your left, look at the structure. You need to have CSS. Inside CSS, have style.css.
Hello?
Yes.
Hello? Is the class still going on?
Yes.
I can see it is quiet.
We have not seen response that people were able to do that. So I'm wondering.
Okay, fine. As we wait, kindly share your index codes.
My index.html.
Yeah.
Michelle, what do you mean by yours is coming with a different format? You can share your screen. We were seeing your face, so I don't know if that was a screen. Awesome. Michelle, are you able to share your screen? I cannot see anything. Sorry, I cannot see anything. Okay. Okay. So it looks like Michelle is having challenges sharing her screen. So for those who have created the CSS file, let's link it to our HTML files. So I'm going to show you how to link that. So we usually link our HTML to CSS. Okay. We still cannot see anything, Michelle. Okay. So let me share. So we're going to we usually link our CSS in the head of the HTML. So after the title, we're going to link. So you link using HTML tag called link. So link, right? Then you give it the href. So href is where is the CSS file. So in our case, we created a folder. So it's css/style.css. Then we add something called what is it called? Relationship between this HTML file and what we are linking is that this is a style sheet. So this is the styling sheet. So this is the style sheet. So add that and save. Then copy the same and put it in the other pages. So copy that, put it in the about, save that, put in the contact and save that. So that is the HTML tag. So the tag to join to add the CSS file. Okay. So once you have done that, we're going to now go to a CSS file. Now we're going to style. So for this example, so let's start with the H1. So let's sorry. So with CSS, you usually need to know what is the element that you want to target, that you want to style, so that you always with CSS you start with the element, then you apply some attributes to it. So in this case, for example, I want to make H1 blue, so I'll target the H1 element like that. Then I'll put curly braces. So then within my curly braces is where I'll put my CSS attributes. So for example, I want to change the font color. So with CSS, there's something called font color. So that is represented as font hyphen color, like that. And then I can say blue. So that's how you define your CSS. You start with the element, and then what is it about the element you want to change? So in this case, the font hyphen color, then the full colon, then the value. So that I want it to be blue. So you say blue, then the semicolon. Then once you save, you go refresh your browser, you should be able to see all your H1s in color blue. Did it work for anyone? When you looked in your browser? Sorry, I made a mistake. No, sorry, made a mistake. Yeah. Sorry, I made a mistake. As Diana is suggesting, change the font color to color. I'm sorry about that. So it's just about, it's just color, not font color. So where there's font color, change it to color. Sorry about that. So you can do the same for H2. H2, can give it another color. So I'll say red for that. If after changing font color to color works, please let me know. So then this is for one specific element. But if I want all my other H headings to have the same color as H2, so what I'll do is I'll just add a comma. Then I'll say H3, H4, H5, H6. Awesome, thank you for the feedback, Mariam. So now this means that my H1, my H2, H3, H4, H5, H6 will have the same color, red. So once I save that, refresh my browser. So once I refresh my browser, my H1 is blue, my H2, 3 till 6 is red. Please, if that works for you, let me know. Awesome, thank you for the feedback. So that's our heading 1. So now we want to change, you see how big our image is. So I want us to change the width, the height and the width of our image, this huge image. So what I'll do is I'll go back to my CSS. I'll go back to my CSS. Then I'll target that image. So our image element is img, right? So I say img, and then I want to change the width and the height. So I'll say width. I want the width to be 50%, right? Then I want the height to be also 50%. So I'm targeting the image using the img tag. Then I'm adding I want to change the width and the height. So that's what I do. So once you've done that, save, refresh your browser, and confirm that your image has reduced in size. Awesome. I can see everyone has done it. Okay. So now let's target something else. So let's change something else. What else can we change? So let's, as someone suggested, we can change, we can add CSS to our table. I'm trying to remember who said that. Yeah, Gladys. So Gladys told us we can use CSS to affect our table. So what you can do is in our table, let's target our table and add a border. So let's say table. So we want to add a border, right? So we want to add a border around our table. So with borders, you have to define the kind of border. So the number of borders that you can have a border that is solid. So that's a line that is straight. And then you can have dashed border. So you have a border that has some dashes. So it's like a line, but looks like a dash continuously. And then we have dashed, then there's the dotted. So for us, we're going to use a solid. So I'm going to say solid border. Then you can define the thickness of the border. So I can say, let my thickness be like 5 pixels, right? And then I can say I want it to be black in color. So save that. Then refresh your browser. See that? So we are targeting the table. We are adding a border that is solid. So solid means it's a straight line that is 5 pixels thick. That is black. So you can change the color to, if you want black, you can change it to brown or you can change it to blue. So maybe I can say, let's do it like that. So do that and refresh your browser and let me know. So you can change, you can decide to change from solid to dotted, like that, to dotted. See what happens. See the difference. So you can see the difference between dotted. There's a thing dashed. You can change to dash. Then you see the difference. So you can change that and see the differences.
Can you please open it in your browser so I can see?
Oh, you don't believe what you're seeing?
I'm not even sure where it's supposed to appear.
So our table, where is our table? It's the index, right? This is how my table looks like.
Oh,
Yeah, so this
thank you.
this is dashed.
Okay.
Yeah, so if I change, let me change to solid and refresh. So solid looks like that. Is that what you have?
No.
What do you have?
I have something else that is not that. Um, I'm afraid mine doesn't have any border.
Okay, so maybe you can share your screen.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, here it is.
Where is your table? Okay. So that's table solid. Try put a space between solid and 5 pixels. Then save.
Then,
Right.
oh yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, anyone else having troubles? No. Okay, so we are going to look at, someone asked if we can have the list as Roman, right? So what we can do is, there is a property called list style with lists. So we are going to target our UL, right? Or on ordered list. So UL, about the Roman. So I'm going to put the upper Roman. So when I refresh my browser, I'll see that, let me show you. So when you refresh the browser, you'll see that our list is in Roman. Okay, so let me just show you how the code looks like. So I've said, I've just said UL, I'm targeting UL, and then I've added list hyphen style, then I've said upper Roman. So there are many other things. There's Roman, there's circle, there's alpha. That Roman can be upper or lower Roman. Okay. There can be so many values, and always remember you don't have to cram these things. They're always on the internet. You can always refer, go and check. You can just Google the list styles HTML, and you'll be able to get all of them. So you don't have to cram everything. Okay. So the other thing is, maybe I want to change the font size for my paragraph. So what I'll do is I'll go to the CSS. I'll target my paragraph. My paragraph is P. Then I'll say font hyphen size. Then I'll say the size in terms of pixels. I can say 30 pixels. So once I save that, and then I go to my browser and refresh, the size of my font will increase. So then you always need to remember that the CSS we are applying is also applying in all the other pages. So if, for example, we changed H1 to be blue, so my about also the H1 is blue, then you can see my paragraph, the font size has increased. My H2 is red. So when I go to contact, also the same. My H1 is blue. My list, I think I had a list in here. So my list is also Roman. My table has that border. When you go to home, the same thing. Because we have linked the CSS in all the pages, so the changes should be reflected in all those pages. Okay. Any question? So we have looked at adding a border to a table. In our table, can we add a border to the other? Yeah, so we can, do you think we can add a border in our table row? Because we added a border just around the table. Can we add the same border to the table row? So let's try table row, table data, TD, and see if we'll have a table that is fully bordered. So also try add the HTH, also the table head. And what do you see? Is the whole table bordered? Awesome, thanks. I can see in the feedback that everyone has been able to do that. Awesome, that's great. So there's a lot of CSS styling, and we can't go through everything in this one session. So what I will share is I'll share resources, a website. So there's a website usually called W3 Schools that you can use to learn some HTML and CSS. So let me put it in the chat. So that's where you're going to get good resources for HTML and CSS. So I would request you to please just go through it